but pretend and just make sure that you are going to get medication for heart attack when the thing begin to fail.
Of being a Biafra nation. No more killing of northerners, no more killing of police officers, no more profiling of northerners and attacking their businesses. Let Igbo have their independent nation away from the rest of Nigeria. Nigeria on Biafra referendum in Abuja. We are the amalgamation of northern women from all parts of the north, north central, northwest, and northeast. We as mothers, we are always at the receiving end of any war, insurrection, killing, and act of terror. When our men were killed, we were raped and our children rendered orphans. We have no way to run to. Nigeria history has shown that women carry the heavy body of war and act of insurrection and terrorism. We have gone through it from 1967 to 1971. Women, can we allow this to happen again? No! Our men died and left us with the children.
Let Biafra go. If you don't want it to happen again, let Biafra go, because it is going to happen, and this time around, you will never have the opportunity to starve our children to death. Never. It is going to happen again, and this time around, you are not going to have a blockade over Biafra. That we have achieved. So if you don't want it to happen again, next year, when we stop election in Biafra land, just conduct a referendum, at least to give yourself some dignity.
Out of nothing. Other men that survived move on, but we never move on. The aftermath of the war and the suffering left a lifetime scars in our hearts and on our body. We therefore anonymously call on the leader and father of the country and the leadership of the National Assembly, President of the Senate, Dr. Ahmad Lawal, and the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Hon Femi Gbajabiamila, to immediately call for a referendum in the country. Let people choose to live in peace in Nigeria or leave. Any other group or nationality that wants to sit or exercise their right for self-determination, like the Southeast has been agitated for disease, to be allowed to live Nigeria peacefully without resorting a second civil war. Wow. Today, the Igbo nation has turned the entire Southeast to almost a war zone. Northerners, irrespective of their tribes, are no longer safe.
Did you hear what this woman said? Today, Igbos have turned the Southeast to war zone. They are more concerned about Igbo Southeast war zone, but these people are living in IDP camp in the north. They are not worried about that. They are not worried about that. In Kaduna, you can't travel between Kaduna and Abuja. They are not worried about that. They're not worried about the fact that you can't even travel by train to any part of northern Nigeria without the fear of being kidnapped by terrorists. They are not worried about that. They are not worried about the fact that the senators they are calling upon cannot travel to their villages and in peace. They are not worried about that. Okay? And somebody is asking what happened to be proposed 2 million march in Kaduna. You understand? But they are worried about you. I worried about Southeast. I want you people to understand that we are making progress, and I want you to listen to this. The world know Biafra, and we are going to help them to hear Biafra more in the next year that is coming. Let us go there.
Since World War II, there has not been another tragedy that resembles the scope of the Holocaust in any way, but there are many cases in which it stands on the side and does not prevent genocide and does not prevent mass murder. It could be Biafra or Cambodia, or
it can be Biafra or Cambodia. The ex-president of Israel, even recognized the massacre, the mass murder, the genocide against Biafra people. And that is why when we talk, some of you don't understand what is going on. They know our pain and what we have gone through. And in this, the Prime Minister of Israel, and in this particular coming year, 2023, we are going to make Biafra a global news. Our activities and the liberation of Biafra will be the global news. They will talk about us. They are going to talk about us by force. It is not about making references again about the genocide against Biafra people. The 3 million children that were killed, murdered, and Queen Elizabeth did not apologize for her involvement in the starvation of Biafra people dead. What you don't know is bigger than you. The world knows Biafra, and they know what happened to us. And because the people who fought Biafra war were ignorant of what was going on in the global stage, and they could not stand their ground to fight guerrilla war to the end. Today, we have come to complete it, and we are going to complete this fight. So I want us to listen to how the Prime Minister of Israel, the ex-Prime Minister of Israel, mentioned Biafra. And again, we go to the people who a complete detailed chronological analysis of the people that returned their medals to Queen of England over Biafra. I want you to listen.
Since World War II, there has not been another tragedy that resembles the scope of the Holocaust way, but many cases in which the world stands and does not prevent genocide and does not prevent mass murder. It could be Biafra or Cambodia or Rwanda or Sudan.
We do not have a date set aside to commemorate what happened in 1967.
I think there's no need for that because you'll be opening old wounds. It's not the duty of people who are not involved to deny the pain of people who are involved. In Nigeria, there's this big embargo about Biafra. You must never talk about Biafra. We have to move on. You have to forget. You have to just move on. Forget about it. But it's not the duty of people who are not there to forget. If the people who suffered want to forgive and forget, it's their prerogative and they can do that at their will. Well, Steve Jobs, has anybody read his autobiography? Yeah, he stopped going to church because he read about the Biafra war. He said, if Christians can do that to people, why should I worship that God? I don't agree with him, but that's his view. He felt so bad about the war.
Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs is the founder of Apple. iPhone you are using today, Steve Jobs is the founder. If you are not aware, Steve Jobs protested for Biafra, for the way British and the Queen of England supervised the killing and the murder and starvation of Biafra children. Over 3 million children were killed by starvation by Queen of England. That is why the Twitter catch fire the other day with our sister, Professor Ujuanya. So you don't know. Steve Jobs was the founder of Apple, the iPhone. He protested for Biafra. This Biafra we are fighting today. That is why some idiots don't understand what Biafra is. The name of Biafra can never ever be forgotten that just like that. Some of you do not know. Go and ask Oyibo people, the Biafra. They will remind you, oh, is it the children with the malnutrition children and the children with hunger dying of hunger? At least, if they don't remember Biafra, they remember the hungry children. The images you see with the UNICEF today, they are all from Biafra. Steve Jobs was the founder of Apple.
Bernard, former French foreign minister, remember him in Kosovo, digging everyone to understand what happened in Kosovo. Where did he start? He started in Biafra. He was there as a Red Cross volunteer. He resigned from the Red Cross. He said, we can't be impartial in such a situation. He founded Médecins Sans Frontières, MSF, because of the Biafra situation. And that's what Biafra did to him. John Lennon returned his MBE to the Queen because of the Biafra war.
As a protest against violence and war, especially Britain's involvement in Biafra, which most of the British public aren't aware of. With all the press, TV and radios slant all the news from Biafra. All the stuff I learned Biafra from journalists, off-the-cuff folks, was a different story, and I began to be ashamed of being British. And I'm a patriotic nationalist, if the truth is allowed, and Yoko can vouch for that. I'm always fighting about what Britain invented radar and what all the different things we've done. But every day I just began to worry a bit more about it. And I was going to send the MBE back anyway. I could have done it privately, but the press was on out anyway. You would have been here a week later instead, less impact.
Jimi Hendrix was playing concerts to raise money for the children in Biafra. He was raising money to feed people like me. I would have died if those flights hadn't come in. 3,170 flights in 3 years that came in with all the food we wanted because there was no way to feed Biafra. And of course, part of the war strategy was to starve and kill everybody. A Canadian, he had all the awards from here, CBE, MBE, everything, right up to the night. They returned all of that to the Queen because of the war.
If you came away from some of the earlier tragedies of the Biafran War and some of the wars in Africa and the AIDS things I photographed, there wasn't enough darkness.
The next piece is also by Alex Baranowski. It's called Biafra, and this was actually written for a documentary which just came out at the beginning of this year. The documentary is called McCullen, and it's about the very famous war photographer Don McCullen, who traveled around the world over the last 30, 40 years, taking the most extraordinary photographs, mostly of war-torn areas. And Biafra was a former province into Nigeria, where they had a most horrendous civil war in the 1960s. And there was a particular colony, a children's colony, which had been abandoned, and thousands of children were left there to die. And Don McCullen arrived at this place in Biafra to find all these children there. And the children thought that he had come to save them. But the truth was he was there as a photographer. He'd come to take photos.
You know, I'd walk into a school in Biafra and I would see 800 children dying. And as soon as they saw the white men coming, you could see they thought there was some hope at the end of the tunnel. And what did I bring them? I brought them 2 Nikon cameras around my neck. And I saw these children dropping down and dying in front of me. And you know, we live in a world now where the media isn't that particularly interested in the real tragedy in our lives.
You feel that?
I'm convinced it is.
And it was something that he just never really got over, never really recovered from. And Alex wrote...
He never really recovered from what he saw in Biafra. He never really recovered from what he saw in Biafra. That is why next year, by 2023, we will reignite the spirit of Biafra across the globe. Our action, the way we are going to deal with Nigeria, the way we will fight against this general election, will reignite the war of Biafra globally. And that is why every Biafra is now at large. The opportunity has never been like this, apart from the fact that the Biafra war never stopped. So next year is the year that Biafra will come, because we are going to reignite the fire of Biafra. Some of you do not know what we know. And somebody will be somewhere telling me about, come, Peter Obi is coming. It will be to hell with Peter Obi and their presidency. You can't trade our freedom for your presidency of 8 years. That I have just given you example of the people that were president of Nigeria, and they have nothing to show for it today. It did not stop Fulani from killing them. It did not stop the invasion of our land. It did not stop the cattle, whatever route and all the shit they do in our land. It did not stop them from taking over and trying to turn you to Islam. It didn't stop the Fulanization agenda. He became president for 8 years and they intensify the Fulanization of Nigeria. We cannot be that stupid. This generation of Biafra will make history. Is only to identify the target and the strike at the right time. That's what we are doing. we can never allow this election to take place in Biafra land. It is a time for payback.
This particular piece based on that, and it's a film, which is the most extraordinary documentary. I would urge any of you to go and see it. It's just out, and it has picked up 2 BAFTA nominations, in fact, just recently. So this is Biafra by Alex Baranovsky.
Good night.